In the early 90s, G2 Megatron came with electronics. He could talk. He had power-sounding treads to crush his opponents. And, probably most importantly, the launching of missiles from his turret. You not only got the launch, but you got an explosion! This one doesn't do a thing. What a disappointment. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're kicking off December by it being Legacy Month. Since it's been so long and incredibly difficult to find any of the second wave of Legacy figures. So we're going to kick this off with Megatron, the Generation 2 version. Before we get too far into this, I want to give a shout out to a friend of the channel, 9Ball. She sent me this figure since I was having difficulties finding him, so she sent him to me as part of a trade agreement. So thank you, 9Ball. And we won't cover that too much more. I know you don't like the publicity, but I still like to thank those that have made a contribution to the channel. Now, many of you will still recognize the basic layout of this figure, because it is basically Megatron from the Legacy line, the core class Megatron from Kingdom, just painted up in Generation 2 colors. So he is now in the gaudy bright green and purple. That's about all he does in resemblance to that version of Megatron, since most of the front of the tank formed the chest of that original toy, and the fusion cannon served back here on his shoulder. So it was kind of trying to be close to being an homage to the Generation 1 and do something totally different. So, this is another one of those, do you or don't you buy it? Well, that depends on your definition of what you think is worthy. Especially if you like odd colors like this guy has. At any rate, we'll take a look at his one lone accessory. It is this tiny gun. And just like with the one that came with Kingdom's core class Megatron, it's basically the same shape and tries to invoke the appearance of Generation 1 Megatron. The gun barrel is very similar to the one on a Walther P-38, and it does have a little scope on it. Those would basically be the basic needs to look like Megatron's gun mode in its basic no-frills version. Other than that, let's take a look at Megatron's articulation, and it'll be the same as that on the Kingdom figure. You can turn his head from side to side. It will not look up and down. His arms can reach out about so far, and they can only rotate up so far due to the tank bits getting in the way. His arm can bend at the elbow 90 degrees, and he does have a swivel at the bicep, so he does have G.I. Joe style battle grip. Megatron can turn a twist at his hips, so he does have some dance moves going for him. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. He does have a bit of a thigh cut going for him here. You can raise his leg up at the hip greater than 90 degrees, and you can bend his leg at the knee 90 degrees. So all in all, he's got a fair amount of posability on him, despite his small size. Okay, to transform Megatron, it'll basically follow the same route that the Kingdom one did. We start, of course, by rotating the fusion cannon here on his arm. Then you're going to rotate the right hand, as it will also bring about a panel to cover his elbow. And of course, we will do the same thing on the other arm, but we rotate it at the elbow. So that way it more or less looks like that. Then we're going to bring him like into this angle here, because we're going to bring forward the front side of the tank. And of course, once we've gotten it cleared, we can fold up his arms, and they should connect together at the fusion cannon. Having just a little trouble getting him up there. There we go. And plug the other arm into the fusion cannon. Just exactly like that. Then, of course, once you've done that, the arms should rest on a couple of protrusions on this purple piece down here. That way they're all locked into position. So once we've got everything locked and readied, of course I want you to make sure that the tank front is completely lowered like that. We're going to rotate his hips around so that we got the treads all lined up the same. So we will then pop the legs apart like so. Then they get folded as necessary to line up and connect together with the front piece of the tread. It looks more difficult than it really is. Basically involves lining up a piece here at the back and then folding everything over and connecting it at the front. There we go. You should even feel it snap. Just the tank body a little bit. And to extend the gun a little bit, we just attach the pistol right into the turret. And there you have it. The G2 Megatron in Legacy form in his tank mode. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any Wii wheels underneath it, so he's not going to roll very much. But the tank turret does turn about 180 degrees with relative ease. It's a little difficult to get it to go all the way around, but you can definitely cover a fair amount of it. So if you go too much, it is going to pop the legs free, so kind of pick an angle and stick with it. So now we get to my thoughts. While it is nice that they did decide to include more Generation 2 toys into the lineup for Legacy, I do question the cheapness that Hasbro chose to go with for Megatron. Megatron is a prominent character in the Transformers lineup, no matter how you slice it. He's the leader of the Decepticons. So naturally, Megatron deserves better. And unfortunately, this one, since it's just a repaint of the one that was intended to match the G1, it comes off more cheaply since it doesn't even resemble the Generation 2 version, only in paint scheme. So the fact that they didn't want to take the time to make a proper homage to the G2 toy is a disappointment. So, unfortunately, this one's kind of going to rank on the low side since it barely resembles its G2 counterpart. And it is, beyond the shadow of any doubt, another lazy attempt on Hasbro's part. And that's my review of the Legacy version of G2 Megatron. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you like the content that we feature here on this channel, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. We do appreciate the feedback here. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.